Welcome to the Mangami platform. Right. In today's discussions, we are going to discuss something very important in your syllabus, which comes under the cost accounting. You know that under the cost accounting, there are several elements that you wanted to do, which is introduction to the cost accounting, material costing, labor costing, and the production overheads. Today, we are going to discuss economic order quantity. This economic order quantity basically comes under material costing. You know that under the cost accounting, there are 4 elements that you wanted to study: introduction to the cost accounting, material costing, labor costing, and the production overheads. Out of these 4, the economic order quantity you wanted to do under the material costing. Under the material costing. But under the material costing, mainly you need to study 4 separate segments. One is introduction to the material cost. Second thing, purchasing control, which means by the time you purchase the material, how you going to control. Second thing, storage control, which means by the time you store the inventory, how you going to control. The last part in the material control, by the time you are issuing the inventory, how you going to control them. This economic order quantity that we are going to discuss would be available under storage control, right. So then I believe at the end of these sessions, you all have the basic idea about what is economic order quantity and how you going to calculate the economic order quantity and how do you apply this thing in the several applications of the business. Okay. As I told you, economic order quantity comes under the material costing. In material costing, what is the main objective of the material costing? Why business put some control, introduce some controls on the materials? But the main objective of the material control is to maintain the optimum level of inventory. Every business's main ultimate expectation is to control the optimum level of inventory. That word is very important. Every business put or introduce all these control for the purpose of maintaining the optimum level of inventory. Okay, what do you mean by this optimum level of inventory? Putha, the optimum level of inventory means the level of inventory which has no excess, which has no deficit. If a business can maintain an inventory without having an excess or a shortage, so that particular thing you call as what? Optimum level of inventory. Why every businesses focus on maintaining the optimum level of inventory? The reason is this: if you keep or if you maintain more than what you require, if you keep or if you maintain in your business more than the requirements, let's say for example, let's say you want only 10,000 units at a time in your store, but you maintain 100,000 units in your store. Now what are the consequences? First thing, you have invested or you have tied up unnecessarily your working capital in that business, right? You need only 10,000, you need only 1,000, but you invested in 10,000 units. So then you purchased 10,000 units, which means you have excessively invested in that particular inventory, which tied up your working capital, which has a huge amount of opportunity cost. Second thing, your store you have to maintain in a bigger capacity, your insurance and other cost expenses also would be in the high scale, right. So then basically if you purchase more than the requirements, your cost of maintaining would be what? Higher. Same as that if you maintain something less than the requirement, even in that situations you face some kind of difficulties. First thing, when you do not maintain the sufficient amount of inventory, you will not be able to do your production functions smoothly. You will not be able to do your production functions smoothly, which means you will not be able to maintain your smoothly continue your production process. Now, for an example, let us say in the country, if there is a shortage of the fuel or a petrol or a diesel, what could happen? The entire country will be stuck in some particular situations. Same as that, if there is no sufficient raw material in your business, your machines will not work, your employees will not work, all the assets will be the ideal assets. Therefore, the main objective of the business is to maintain optimum level of inventory, right. When you maintain the optimum level of inventory, which means without having the surplus or the deficits, economic order quantity plays a vital or an important role, right. So, then today we are going to discuss how we going to use the economic order quantity in controlling the inventory or in maintaining the optimum level of inventory. Okay, Vita. Now, let me explain what is economic order quantity. When I give you the theoretical definitions of the economic order quantity, I could very easily say that is the most economical reorder quantity. Economic order quantity is the most economical reorder quantity, right. So, then which is too technical and very difficult to understand, and let me just give you a small idea about what the economic order quantity is, right. Assume in a business you need 60,000 units of raw material. You need 60,000 units of raw material. Now, from the economic order quantity, what we discuss is when you are buying these 60,000 units at once, how many units you purchase. Let us say, for example, if you need as the first option, you can buy the entire 60,000 units at once. This is the first option. Or else, second situation, you can buy what? 10,000 units at once. Or else, as a third option, you could say you can buy 5,000 units at once. All these you call as reorder quantity. How many units reorder quantity means how many units you purchase at once. Your annual demand is 60,000 and optionally you can buy the entire 60,000 at once, or else you can buy 10,000 units at once, or else you can buy 5,000 units at once, or else you can get another options, you can buy 2,000 units also at once. Now, what is the consequence if you are buying 60,000 units at once? If you buy 60,000 units at once, you can say number of orders will be only once, which means you need to order only how many times? One times. Annually you need 60,000 units, entire 60,000 you purchase in the first purchase. So, which means you are placing only one order in a year. Let's say if you are purchasing 10,000 units at once, which means 60,000 units you need annually. If you are purchasing 10,000 at once, you need to place 6 orders. And when it's come to 5,000, you need to place 12 orders. When it's come to 2,000 units, if you purchase 2,000 units, you need to place 30 times. You can see there is a direct relationship between the number of units you purchase at once and the number of orders. If you are purchasing more units at once, if you are purchasing more units at once, if you are purchasing more units at once, your number of orders what? Your number of orders what? Would be reduced. So, then you can say, your reorder quantity and the cost of ordering has a negative relationship. Which means more you purchase at once, which means when you increase your reorder quantity, what could happen? Your cost of purchases will what? Cost of ordering will what? Decreases. But therefore, you may have a feeling if you want to maintain the optimal level of inventory, and if you want to keep your inventory cost minimum, you can purchase more units at once. Yes, when you purchase more units at once, when you purchase higher units at once, when your reorder quantity is higher, you can keep your cost of ordering minimum at a minimum point. But it has another consequence. What that is? But when you purchase more units at once, your cost of holding will increase. Now, for an example, when you purchase 60,000 units at once, you have to maintain 60,000 units in your store. Whereas, when you purchase 2,000 units at once, your holding cost is very much low. Understand? Therefore, you can say, Putha, when the reorder quantity is higher, cost of holding is also what? Higher. Got it? Accordingly, we can say your reorder quantity and the cost of holding has a what relationship? A positive relationship. So, in summary, you can say cost of ordering and cost of holding, right? When the reorder quantity, if you compare with the cost of ordering, reorder quantity and the cost of ordering has a negative relationship. You can say it has a negative relationship, and these two has a positive relationship, which means your reorder quantity and the cost of holding has a positive relationship. At this stage, alright, initially at the beginning, it is very, very difficult for you to understand this particular relationship. Here, what I wanted to tell you, your reorder quantity makes a difference in the cost of holding and the cost of ordering. So, then if you want to maintain the optimum level of inventory, you need to focus on these two types of cost, which is what? Cost of ordering as well as the cost of holding. Focusing on these two types of cost. What are the two types of cost that you need to focus on? Cost of ordering and cost of holding. When deciding the economic order quantity, these are the two types of cost that you need to mainly consider. Our question was, what is the economic order quantity? Putha, economic order quantity means what is the most economical reorder quantity that we need to find. So, right, from these discussions, basically we are going to discuss how to calculate the economic order quantity. Sometimes purchasing 10,000 units will be more economical. Sometimes purchasing 5,000 units more economical. Sometimes purchasing 2,000 units may be more economical, or sometimes some other amount will be more economical. We don't know what is more economical in this, right? So, then through the economic order quantity, through the EOQ discussions, we are going to discuss how to find the most economical reorder quantity. What is the EOQ then? Most economical reorder quantity, right? Economic order quantity is the most economical reorder quantity. Putha, this economic order quantity has two main characteristics. This economic order quantity has two main characteristics. First thing, when you purchase the economic order quantity, your total cost of inventory will be minimum. That is the one characteristic of the economic order quantity, right? If you are purchasing, let's say your economic order quantity you calculated 6,000 units, that means you can keep your total inventory cost at minimum when you purchase in 6,000 units at once. If you purchase more than 6,000 units at once, then what could happen? Your total inventory cost will be more than the minimum amount. Not even that, if you purchase a less than 6,000 units also at once, again what? Your total inventory cost will be more than the minimum cost. Then if you want to maintain your minimum your inventory cost at the minimum point, you need to place the reorder quantity. So then one characteristic of the economic order quantity is what? Your total inventory cost will be minimum. And also there is another characteristics of the economic order quantity, which is your total holding cost of inventory equal to the total cost of ordering. Total cost of holding is equal to the total cost of ordering, right? Accordingly, now you can see, right, earlier in that examples we have discussed, when the reorder quantity get changed, cost of holding and the cost of ordering was changed. Now for an example, when the reorder quantity is higher, holding cost also was increased when you increase the number of units you purchase at once, but the ordering cost will decrease. So when you increase this, on the other side, cost of holding when you increase, cost of ordering will decrease. So then at the economic order quantity, these two will be equal to each other. So then Putha, what are the two main characteristics of the economic order quantity? One is your total inventory cost will be minimum, and what? Total holding cost of inventory is equal to the total ordering cost. In the latter part of this particular discussions, we will tell you how these become equal and what are the holding cost and what are the ordering cost, right? Accordingly, economic order quantity has two main characteristics. Total cost of inventory will be the lowest if you purchase the EOQ. Your total inventory cost will be recorded at the lowest amount, and at the same time your total holding cost is equal to the total ordering cost, right? Now we have studied what is economic order quantity, and then thereafter we have mainly focuses what are the two main characteristics of the economic order quantity, and then thereafter we are going to discuss how to determine the economic order quantity, how to determine these economic order quantity. So then that particular discussions, when you make that particular discussions, Putha, you can identify three methods. That is the most important thing for a business, how to determine the economic order quantity. When determining the economic order quantity, there are three types of methods. One is tabulation method. What's the first one? Tabulation method. Under the tabulation method, what we do is we are using a table for the purpose of calculating the economic order quantity. Second one, graphical method. In the graphical method, what we do is we use a graph in calculating what? Economic order quantity. The last method is formulation method. In the formulation method, we calculate the economic order quantity using a formula, right? Out of these three methods, I am not going to discuss this tabulation method. The main thing that will not be available in your syllabus. Second thing is, this is a trial and error method. This is a trial and error method, which consume your time and which is a time consuming method. But I should say this, both the graphical method and the formulation method has been developed on the basis of this. But as this is not in your syllabus and as it consumes your time, as it is an inefficient method, we are going to discuss only these two methods, which is the graphical presentations and the formulation presentations. How to calculate the economic order quantity using a formula, and how to calculate the economic order quantity using a graph, or how to present the economic order quantity using a graph, right? So then what are the two different methods that you use in calculating the economic order quantity? One is the formulation method, the other one is what? Graphical method. Okay, right. Now we will see how we are going to calculate the economic order quantity by using a formula. Here what we are going to do is we are trying to develop a formula for the purpose of calculating the economic order quantity. We are trying to develop a formula in calculating the economic order quantity. So once you build up the formula and once you calculate the formula, it is very much easier in finding the economic order quantity, because it's a matter of substituting the figures into that particular formula, which is very efficient and which is very accurate. Okay. When calculating the economic order quantity using a formula, we are using one characteristics of the economic order quantity. When you are calculating the economic order quantity using a formula, we are going to use one characteristics of the economic order quantity. The first characteristics here, the main characteristic that we are going to use here, what? At the economic order quantity, total cost of holding, we will say that, what is the characteristic that we are going to do? Total cost of holding is equal to total cost of ordering. We have discussed economic order quantity has two main characteristics. One is your total inventory cost will be minimum. The other one is your total holding cost is equal to the total ordering cost, right? By using this characteristics, we are going to calculate economic order quantity. We will see, right? Putha, tell me, what do you mean by the total cost of holding? How are you going to calculate the total cost of holding? Putha, cost of holding, how are you going to calculate? Total cost of holding, reorder quantity of the business divided by 2, which means if you are purchasing 10,000 units at once, that 10,000 units is the reorder quantity, that you divide by 2 and multiply by CH. The CH means annual holding cost per unit. What do you mean by CH? Annual holding cost per unit, which means if you want to keep one inventory unit, if you want to keep one inventory unit in your store for a period of 1 year, how much the cost that you wanted to incur? That is what you call as what? Cost of holding. So then let me just explain then what is the cost of holding. Annual holding cost per unit. What do you mean by this? Annual holding cost per unit, which means to keep one unit in your store for a period of 1 year, how much the cost that you wanted to incur. Clear? How much the cost that you wanted to incur, that is what you call as a CH. So then that when you multiply by the reorder quantity divided by 2, you get the annual holding cost. Then if you have noticed this, when I do the economic order quantity, several times I have used what? Annual. Keep in mind then, economic order quantity is a annual model. It's an annual model. You can't calculate the economic order quantity for a month. You can't calculate the economic order quantity for a quarter. You can't calculate the economic order quantity for a week. You calculate the economic order quantity for a year. So then this is an annual model, right? Okay. Then how are you going to calculate the total holding cost? How are you going to calculate the total ordering cost? How are you going to calculate the total ordering cost? Putha, total ordering cost, how do you calculate? D. What's D for then? Annual demand. Don't just say demand. You have to say it is what? Annual demand. In the exam, if the examiner has given the monthly demand, you need to multiply that by 12 and calculate what? The annual demand. If the monthly demand is not equal, then you need to find out what? The annual demand. But keep in mind, there is an assumptions in the economic order quantity. We will talk about the assumptions later. There is an assumptions in the economic order quantity. Inventories are consumed evenly throughout the period, right? Okay. Then what I need to say here, when you are calculating the total cost of ordering, what you need to do, you take the annual demand divide by the reorder quantity, right? When the annual demand you divided by the reorder quantity, can someone tell me what is the answer you get? When you divide the annual demand by the reorder quantity, what's the answer? Puta, for an example, if your annual demand is 60,000 units and if you are purchasing 10,000 units at once, you got 6. What is this 6? Number of orders. How many times you place the order? Okay, then that you multiply by what? Cost per order. Then you get the total cost of ordering. How to calculate the total cost of ordering? Annual demand, you divide by the reorder quantity, then you get the number of orders, and that when you multiply by the cost per order, you get the total cost of ordering. So then Puta, what is the CO? CO means cost per order. This is not just to order 1 units. Right? If you are placing an order, how much the cost that you want to incur? Right? That is what the cost per order. In that order, you may order 60,000 units sometimes, you may order 10,000 units sometimes you might order 5,000, 2,000, doesn't matter. Right? If you order 10,000 units at once, if you order whatever the units at once, how much the cost you incur for an order. So that is what you called as what? Yeah, cost per order. Is that clear? Right. Okay. Then in the economic order quantity, basically, I told you total holding cost and the total ordering cost is equal to each other. How to find the total holding cost and how to find the total ordering cost. Right. Puta, our main target is what? Finding the economic order quantity. You know that at this level, economic order so the total cost of holding is equal to the total cost of ordering. Total cost of holding is equal to the total cost of ordering. So then at this point, if you find the reorder quantity, that is the economic order quantity. If in this level, if you can calculate the reorder quantity, that reorder quantity is the economic order quantity. Therefore, you solve this equation to find the reorder quantity, then you will end up with this type of a equation, which is 2dCO divided by CH square root. When you solve this equation for RO cube, that RO cube is a EO cube because these two are equal to each other, then you will end up with this type of a formula. What is that formula? 2dCO divided by CH and the square root of the whole thing, right? So then Puta, this is the formula that you could use in calculating the economic order quantity. Economic order quantity equal 2dCO divided by CH square root. So then basically economic order quantity has 3 parameters, 3 determinants, 3 variables. What are they? What are the 3 variables which determine the economic order quantity? One is annual demand. Second, annual holding cost per unit. How do you call it? Annual holding cost per unit. Please do not just say holding cost. You have to say annual holding cost per unit, which means for you to keep 1 unit in your store for a period of 1 year, how much the cost that you need to incur. The other determinants of the economic order quantity is what? Cost per order. What that is? Cost per order, right? So then this is how you calculate the economic order quantity by using a what formula. Clear? Okay, now we all can see this question. What does it say? A business which produces a single product has given the following information. Annual demand 60,000 units, holding cost per unit 10 rupees, cost per order is 3000. They want you to calculate the economic order quantity. We have studied the formula to calculate the economic order quantity. What is the formula, Putha? What is the formula? Economic order quantity equal 2DCO divided by CH square root. Here the 2 is a constant figure. So 2 is a constant figure, right? Now when you want to calculate the economic order quantity, substitute the figures. Putha, D means the annual demand. What is the annual demand? Yes, the question says annual demand in this business, how many units? 60,000 units. Okay, then you can take 60,000 units. And what is CO? Cost per order. Putha, how much the cost per order? That is 3,000 units. Putha, cost per order is how many units, Putha? 3,000 units, and that you need to divide by what? Annual holding cost per unit. How much the annual holding cost per unit? It's very straightforward question. In the question, that particular thing is also given, that is 10 rupees. So then take the square root of this. 60,000 is the annual demand, 3,000 is the cost per order, 10 is the annual holding cost per unit, right? You know that in your examinations, you can use a non-programmable calculator, right? So then I am using the calculation to solve these equations, and you all also can use, but keep in mind you have to use not this type of a calculator, you can use only non-programmable calculator only for the accounting paper as well as the other subjects, right? Okay, how to calculate the annual demand, economic order quantity? 2 into 60,000 into 3,000 divide by 10, right? And the square root of this, how many units? 6,000 units. Economic order quantity is how many units, Sudha? 6,000 units. That means as a management accountant or as a cost accountant, we are advising the managers, we have the annual demand of 60,000, but don't buy the entire 60,000 at once. You purchase 6,000 at once. When you place the order, place in that order 6,000 units. Order 6,000 units at once. That is what you call as what? Economic order quantity, right? You know what is economic order quantity in this question? 6,000 units. Accordingly, business should order by the time they place the order 6,000 units. Okay. What is the second requirement in the question? Optimum number of orders. Putha, now you don't want to do the calculations actually, right? You can very easily calculate the how many number of orders you wanted to place here. Putha, annually you need 60,000 units and you are buying at once 6,000 units, then the number of orders is how many times? How many orders you need to place? 10 orders. Okay, 10 orders. Then how are you going to calculate number of orders, Putha? How are you going to calculate the number of orders? Annual demand. When you say D, always you say annual demand divided by economic order quantity. Putha, annual demand is 60,000 units divided by economic order quantity is 6,000. Then you get how many orders? 10 orders. You get 10 orders. For you to order 60,000 units annually, you need to place 10 orders because at once you are buying 6,000 units. Putha, this number of orders you called as optimum number of orders because you place the optimum reorder quantity. Right? Okay. This is how you calculate the number of orders. Okay. Okay. What is the third requirement of this question? Calculate the frequency of ordering. Frequency of ordering in the sense every after how many days you need to place an order. Right. That is very simple. Putha, you can see here we calculated previously economic order quantity as 6,000 units and the number of orders 10. Right. Now we will see then how do we calculate the frequency of ordering. Right. Frequency of ordering, how do you calculate, Putha? You know that there are 365 days in a year, 365 days in a year, that you divide by number of orders. That you're going to divide by what? Number of orders. Puta, there are 365 days. Okay, then you divide 365 days by number of orders. How many? 10. Then puta 36.5. We take it as 36 days. Accordingly, what is the meaning of this? This business should place the order every after 36 days. Puta, every after 36 days when you place the order only, annually you can place how many orders? 10 orders. Okay. What was the requirement of the question? First requirement is economic order quantity that we calculate as 6,000 units, and then we calculate the number of orders in that question, 10 units, the 10 orders, and then thereafter here we want to calculate what? The frequency of ordering. Frequency of ordering means 36 days. Got it? Frequency of ordering 36 days, which means every after 36 days you need to place an order. Okay, Bata. Before moving into the next two parts of this question, last two part of this question, let me explain you the present calculations that we have already done. In the first requirement of the questions, we calculate the economic order quantity, which was 6,000 units. Tell me, what do you mean by that 6,000 units? What do you mean by that 6,000 units? That 6,000 units means by the time you place the order, how many units you should order at once. According to this calculation, this business should order 6,000 units at once. What is the second one? Number of orders is 10, which means this business throughout this year should place the order how many times? 10 times. This business should order throughout the year 10 times to satisfy the entire demand of the business. And what is the frequency of ordering? Which means, what do you mean by this? Frequency of ordering. Every after how many days you need to place the order? According to this question, this business should place the order every after how many days? 36 days. You place the order today and after 36 days you place another order. How many units? 6,000 units. Again after another 36 days you place another order. How many units? 6,000 units. Likewise you do how many times? 10 times in a year. 10 times in a year. So, right. Okay. With this knowledge then, we will move into the fourth requirement of the question, which is calculations of the total cost of holding. Okay. What is the formula in calculating the total cost of holding? Can you remember? How do we calculate the total cost of holding? Yes, that you calculate in this question as you calculate the economic order quantity. Instead of using the reorder quantity, we could say what? Economic order quantity divided by 2 into CH. Divided by 2 into CH. Right. Now, tell me, economic order quantity in this question, how many units? We calculated as 6,000 units. And when you divide it by that 2, you multiply by CH means annual holding cost per unit, which is 10. 6,000 divided by 2, you get 3,000 into 10, rupees 30,000. Good. So then how much the total cost of holding, which is rupees 30,000. Rupees 30,000. That means when you order 6,000 units at once as a cost of holding, you have to incur 30,000 units. Puta, move into the next requirement of the question. What is the next requirement or the last requirement of the questions? Calculate the total cost of ordering. We have studied when you place or when you order the economic order quantity, what we said, Puta, total cost of holding is equal to the total cost of ordering. So then do we need to calculate the total cost of ordering in this question? No. Why? Because we have already calculated the total holding cost at the economic order quantity at the EOQ. At the EOQ, total holding cost equal to the total ordering cost. Then Puta, total ordering cost is also how many units? total cost of holding is also how much? Rupees 30,000. Why? We didn't calculate the total cost of ordering. Why? Because at the economic order quantity, total holding cost is equal to the total ordering cost. I hope you could understand, right? But we will see whether we get the same answer by applying or by substituting these figures to the total cost of ordering. But keep in mind, in the economic order quantity, if you calculate the cost of holding, you don't want to again calculate the cost of ordering because both are equal to each other. But I do that calculation just for the verification purpose, but in the examination you don't want to do that verification. Clear? Right. What is the formula in calculating the total cost of ordering? Total cost of ordering, how do you calculate? Annual demand divided by EOQ. When you divide the annual demand by the EOQ, what's the answer you get, Putha? Number of orders. That you multiply by the cost per order. That you multiply by the cost per order. Right. How much has to be the answer? 30,000. We'll see whether we get that. Right. Okay. How much the annual demand? How many units? 60,000 units. 60,000 units. Economic order quantity we calculated as 6,000 units, and that you have to multiply by what? Cost per order. Cost per order is how many units, Sudha? 3,000 if you can remember. 60,000 divided by 6, you got 10. What is that 10? Number of orders, we already calculated that. That when you multiply by 3, you get how much? Rupees 30,000. So then we can prove this. At the economic order quantity, your holding cost, total holding cost, annual total holding cost equal to the total ordering cost. Right. Thank you. Right. Now we will move to the second question. Right. In that question, they says they also say they are purchasing a single product from the outside market, and you can see they have given the demand. What they have given? Is it the annual demand or monthly demand? Is it the annual demand or the monthly demand? You can see they have given the monthly demand as how many units, Sudha? 1,000 units. Can you use the monthly demand as it is in calculating the EOQ? No, I told you at the beginning, economic order quantity is an annual model. When you are calculating the economic order quantity, you should have what? Annual demand. You should have the annual demand, right? And so then we'll see, right? Okay, in the next one they say the cost per order is 312.5, right? Rupees 312.5, and unit cost is 8. Holding cost they are given in this question as a percentage of what? Cost of the unit cost of the product, right? Now they are asking you to calculate the reorder quantity, the number of orders, and the frequency of ordering, right? Now we know that. What is the formula in calculating the economic order quantity, Putha? What is the formula used in calculating the economic order quantity? EOQ equal 2DCO divided by CH square root. What's the formula? 2DCO divided by CH square root. 2 is a constant figure. 2 is a constant figure. D is the annual demand. D is the annual demand, but in the questions they have given the monthly demand. Monthly demand is 1,000. There is an assumption in the EOQ model, inventories are consumed evenly throughout the period, right? That means every month or every day you consume the same amount. In every month if you consume the same amount, annually you are purchasing how many units? 12,000 units. Now we can see the question has given the monthly demand, but we converted that into the annual demand, and then only you can substitute it to the formula, which is 12,000 units into CO means what? Cost per order, which is 312.5, divided by what? CH. Did they give the CH or annual holding cost per unit directly? No, right? This is not like in the previous question, but they are giving you the estimation. Usually this is what we do. In industry practice, right? Every business is having industry practice. Out of the total cost of unit, how much will be the holding cost? In this business, in this industry, it is 15%. So then from the unit cost of 8, we'll take 15%. So then cost of holding will be how much? Is it 1.2 rupees? That is 1.2 rupees. So then cost of holding is 1.2. Now divided it, right? Okay. Now we can use the calculator for this purpose. 2 into 12,000 into 312.5 divided by 1.2. The square root of this, you get how many units? 2,500 units. Yes, Vita. Then the economic order quantity is how many units, which is 2,500 units, right? Economic order quantity we calculated in this question, that is 2,500 units. What is next? Yes, next requirement is to calculate what? Number of orders, right? Calculations of the number of orders. How are you going to calculate the number of orders? Right. Number of orders equal annual demand divided by economic order quantity. Annual demand divided by the economic order quantity. Annual demand, it's not monthly demand. Monthly demand is 1,000, but the annual demand we just calculated as how many units? 12,000 units. That you divide by 2,500. 2,500 is the economic order quantity. Then 12,000 divided by 2,500. You get 4.8 times, right? Approximately you can say how many orders, Putha? 5 orders. You can't place 4.8 times the orders, then you have to say how many orders? 5 orders to be placed approximately, right? What is the next requirement in the question? Calculations of the frequency of ordering, right? Now we are going to calculate the frequency of ordering, but before that we have already calculated the economic order quantity in this question as 2,500 units, number of orders as 5 orders. We got 4.8, but we approximately get it as 5 orders, right? What is the formula used in calculating the frequency of ordering? Frequency of ordering we calculate 365 days divided by the number of orders, right? You got 365 days, that when you divide by the number of orders, how many? 5. Then 365 days, when you divide by 5, you got the answer as how many? 73 days. 73 days, which means this business should place the order every after how many days? 33 days. Good. Okay, Vita. We have discussed how do we calculate the economic order quantity. We said there are 3 methods in calculating the economic order quantity. Tabulation method, which is not in your syllabus, we have not discussed it. And then the other 2 methods are formulation method. We have done 2 questions so far from the formulation method, and then thereafter we are going to discuss the graphical presentations of the economic order quantity. Usually by using the formulation method, we calculate the economic order quantity, and by the time we are presenting them to the managers, we are using this type of a graph, right? Let me explain the behavior of the total holding cost and the total ordering cost and the determinations of the economic order quantity by using these particular equations, this particular graph, right? Putha, whatever the calculations you have done using the formulation method can be presented in a graph. So when you present it in a graph, you call that as a graphical presentations, right? You can see this particular, if you look at this particular curve, what has happened? Let's say when the ROQ we'll take it as 1000 here. When the ROQ is 1000, this cost is recorded at this stage. But when it's increased to, let's say, 3000, it has been recorded at this stage, which means ROQ, listen to this, ROQ and this curve has what relationship, Putha? A positive relationship. When the ROQ increases further, it has been now increased to this point. Therefore, ROQ and this curve has a what relationship? Positive relationship. There are two main costs that you consider in the economic order quantity. One is the cost of holding, the other one is the cost of ordering. Putha, you can see ROQ and what cost has a positive relationship, which is a cost of holding. This particular curve represents the total cost of holding, which means when you purchase more units at once, you have to incur higher amount of cost, right? So then what is this curve then? What is this curve? Total holding cost curve. You can see when it further increases, when the ROQ further increases, that will increases. Therefore, you can say, Putha, we have discussed this particular relationship even before. ROQ and the total cost of holding has a what relationship? Positive relationship. ROQ and the total cost of holding has a positive relationship. Therefore, this curve you could identify it as total cost of holding. Right. What is this curve? Yes. Putha, ROQ and this curve has a negative relationship. You can see when you purchase 1000 units at once, you have to incur this much of cost. But when you increase, when the ROQ increases to 3000, it has been reduces to this point. And when it reaches this, it will what? Further decreases. And when you produce more and more, that particular cost decreases. Therefore, it has what relationship, Putha? A negative relationship. It has a negative relationship. And now what cost has a negative relationship? Which is the cost of ordering. Then Putha, total cost of ordering, and the ROQ has a negative relationship. Total cost of ordering and the ROQ has what? Kian? Negative relationship. Understood what I said? Right, good. So then it is very clear, this curve represents which has a positive relationship, total holding cost, and this curve represents the total ordering cost, which has a negative relationship. Right. So then how to determine the economic order quantity? How to determine the economic order quantity in this particular graph? Putha, this graph represents two main characteristics of the economic order quantity. This graph represents the two main characteristics of the economic order quantity. What that is? First thing, I told you at the economic order quantity, your total holding cost equal to total ordering cost. What was the first main characteristic of the economic order quantity? Total cost of holding equal to the total cost of ordering. Total cost of holding is equal to what? Total cost of ordering. That particular relationship you can represent here. Putha, this is the intersection point of both the total holding cost and the total ordering cost. At this stage, both the holding cost is equal to the ordering cost. That is the economic order quantity, right? I extracted these information from your first question, that is 6000 units. That 6000 units you can represent here. So this is the intersection point of both total holding cost and the total ordering cost, which means this is the point where your total holding cost equal to the total ordering cost, that is 6000 units, right? And also there is another characteristic of the economic order quantity, that is a total cost will be what? Minimum. Yes, Putha, if you consider this as a part of your total cost curve, minimum point of the total cost curve will be intersect with what? This particular point. So that even you can represent what in the economic order quantity graph. Now what is this, Putha? What is this? This is the total cost curve, right? So then we have represent total cost of ordering, total cost of holding, total cost curve, economic order quantity, and one more thing, what this is. Putha, this particular point we identified as 30,000, that you can say as what? Total cost of holding or ordering cost at EOQ. When you order 6,000 units, which is your economic order quantity, how much is the total holding cost? That is 30,000, which is equal to the total ordering cost of 30,000 as well. Is that clear? Yes. This is the graphical presentations of the economic order quantity, right? So, just after the graphical presentations of the EOQ model, we identified what is the relationship between the total holding cost and the total ordering cost with the reorder quantity. Putha, total holding cost and the total holding cost and the reorder quantity has a what relationship? A positive relationship, which means higher the reorder quantity, higher the total holding cost, it has a positive relationship. Very clear, no? When you buy 10,000 units at once, the total holding cost that you incur is definitely greater than the total holding cost that you incur when you purchase 5,000 units. When you purchase 5,000 units at once, you incur the low cost of holding, but when you purchase 10,000 units, you incur higher amount of cost of holding. Clear? Right. So, then total holding cost and the ROQ has a positive relationship. And total ordering cost, what is the relationship? Total ordering cost and the reorder quantity has what relationship? A negative relationship. That means when you purchase more unit at once, number of orders you place will become lower. Right? As a result, cost of ordering and the reorder quantity has a negative relationship, right? Okay. At the end of this session, we are about to discuss what are the assumptions in the economic order quantity model or the EOQ model. This is very important. Your examiner would test this particular thing several times in your paper. Putha, keep in mind at the end of this video, after discussing the assumptions in the economic order quantity, that is the end of this particular video discussions, and there will be a paper in the same site in the Mango.me applications. Please download it. If possible, try to take the printouts of that and try to do those questions by referring to the video. I believe if you properly listen to this video, you will be able to do all the questions what is in the tute. Right? If possible, try to take the printouts. If not, you keep it downloaded and try to do the questions. After 1 week from the release of this video, within a week, or answers for all the questions will be uploaded to the same site. So, then you all can get them. Therefore, you have a period of 1 week to get ready and study with the economic order quantity, and by the time after doing this, try to do your past paper questions as well from this particular area. From our next video, we are going to discuss the stock levels, which is the next part of the storage management. We are about to do the stock levels, maximum reorder level, maximum stock level, minimum stock level, the average stock level, how to calculate these formulations and the tabulation presentations, formulations and the graphical presentations, both we do from the next video. Right. Before the next video, let me just tell you how we're gonna identify what assumptions in the economic order quantity. Okay, we'll identify the assumptions referring to one of the characteristic of the economic order quantity. Putha, one of the characteristic of the economic order quantity was total cost of holding equal to total cost of ordering. Total cost of holding equal to total cost of ordering. Could you tell me how did you calculate the total cost of holding? We'll say ROQ. We'll say this is ROQ, right? Reorder quantity divide by 2 into CH. How did you calculate the total cost of ordering? Annual demand divide by ROQ into CO, cost per order. Right. Putha, this particular calculations you can do, this particular characteristics you could determine due to the several assumptions. Let me tell you what are those assumptions. Putha, first assumption here is you are assuming what? This D is a known fact. So then what is the first assumption? Then annual demand is known. What is the first assumptions in the economic order quantity? Annual demand is known. But keep in mind, it is not constant, right? You can't say annual demand is constant. You can say annual demand is known. Known in the sense you can anticipate it or you can estimate it. Clear? Right. Okay. What is the first assumption? This annual demand is known, right? It is very hard for a business to predict the next year demand. Right. Therefore, by the time you are developing the economic order quantity model, by the time you are developing the EOQ model, you assume no, we can make that assumptions. We can make that assumptions. Right. So, what is the first assumption? Annual demand is known. Right. Putha, you can see the second assumptions in the EOQ model. You can see the second assumptions in the EOQ model, which is what? Cost per order is constant. What is the second assumptions in the economic order quantity? Cost per order is constant. You can see when you divide the D by ROQ, you got the number of orders. No? When you divide the D by ROQ, what did you get, Putha? Number of orders. This number of orders, when you multiply by the cost per order, only you get the total ordering cost, which means you make an assumption this cost of ordering is what, Putha? Constant. Usually when you place the first order, if you incur 500 rupees, for the second order it doesn't take exactly 500, right? It may be more than 500 or sometimes it may be less than 500. But when developing the EOQ model, you are making an assumption what? You are making an assumption what? Cost of order is what? Constant. Is that clear? Same as that you are making another assumption, Putha. What that is? You can see how did you calculate the total holding cost? How did you calculate the total holding cost? ROQ divided by 2 into CH. ROQ divided by 2 into CH. What do you mean by this CH? Annual holding cost per unit. Putha, you can do this calculation if this is what? Constant. Putha, then there is another assumptions in the EOQ model. What that is? There's another assumptions in the EOQ model. What that is? Annual holding cost per unit is what? Constant. Annual holding cost per unit is constant. Is that clear? Right. How many assumptions we have now done? 3 assumptions. One is annual demand is known. Second assumption, cost per order is constant. The other one, annual holding cost per unit is constant. Right. There are other assumptions. What that is? Putha, now we all would say this type of a thing. If the annual demand is 60,000, if you purchase 60,000 it at once, we can get the trade discounts. No? So that's a kind of a benefit for the business. Yes, it's true, right? So that particular thing is true. When you buy more units, you are supposed to get the trade discounts. But keep in mind, in economic order quantity, we make an assumption. What that is? Trade discounts are not allowed. What is other assumptions? Trade discounts are not allowed. Therefore, even when you do the more, even when you purchase more number of units, you can't get the benefits because the price is constant. Cost per unit is constant. You can say it in the other way. What? Trade discounts are not allowed, which is also another assumptions in what? In the economic order quantity, right? So we have listed 4. Annual demand is known. Cost per order is constant, annual holding cost per unit is constant, and the trade discounts are not allowed. The last assumption is what? Instantaneous replenishments. What do you mean by that? Whatever the inventory you ordered, you received at once, which means if you order 10,000 units, you receive the entire 10,000 units at once. Sometimes your suppliers say, okay, let's say we ordered 10,000, your supplier would say, okay, we'll send you 2,000 units today itself, and we'll send you another 5,000 units after a week. The balance 2,000 we'll send you after another 2 weeks time. So then if the suppliers provide the inventories In that way, our cost of holding would be what? Different, no? It could be sometimes what? Could be lower than the expected. But if you purchase the entire amount at once, right? Let's say you order 10,000, you receive the 10,000 at once, then your ordering cost would be what? Something higher than the previous situations, right? So then in economic order quantity model, we make then assumptions, ordered inventory we received at what? Once. That is why your entire ROQ you divide by 2. You can't do this particular thing. You can't do this particular thing if the ordered inventory you don't receive at once. Let's say you ordered 10,000 units at once, and if you did not receive the 10,000, let's say you received only 5,000, then you can't apply that 5,000 and calculate the total cost of holding. That is why in the economic order quantity we make another assumption. What that is? Ordered inventory received at once, also you called as what? Instantaneous replenishments. Those are the main assumptions in the economic order quantity, and this will be extremely important in your examinations. Okay. Thank you, Puta. This is the end of this session. As I told you before, from our next video, we are going to discuss how to calculate the main stock levels, reorder level, maximum stock level, minimum stock level, and the average stock level. Right. See you soon. Thank you.